Hey gamers, in this episode of GM Study Hall, we're going to talk about Chekhov's gun. Hey gamers, welcome back to Game Master's Dungeon. I'm Brian, your Game Master, and today we're going to talk about plot devices. And the first one on the list is going to be Chekhov's gun. Well, what is Chekhov's gun? We're going to get to that here in just a second. If you like this video, hit that like button. Also, if you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you get instant notifications of when I upload new videos. Also, you can follow me on Twitter and on Discord. I have a Discord server set up. Links will be in the description below for all of that. So with that said, let's get into it. Alright gamers, so first we need to define what is a plot device. So a plot device is something that you're going to write in your story, in your plot, that's going to drive it in certain directions or that will make certain things happen. So what we're going to talk about today is, like I said, Chekhov's gun. Now, you're obviously asking, okay, what is Chekhov's gun? So Chekhov's gun basically states in your story, say you have a gun hanging on a wall. All right, you're setting your scene, you're writing your story, and the players, the characters, they go into a room, and there's some stuff going on. Maybe they have a conversation with some NPCs, da-da-da-da-da. There's a gun hanging on the wall, and you describe this firearm. And you're like, yeah, off on the east wall, you see that there's an old musket hanging on the wall on a brass frame with a plaque above it. If you go into detail about it, Chekhov's gun, like the plot device, states that that is important. So if you're going to have that gun on the wall and you're going to talk about it and you're going to direct attention to it, sometime in the future, the near future, that gun is going to need to be discharged. It's going to need to go off. It's going to be used by an NPC, a character is going to use it, something is going to happen. You're like, okay, so what does that mean in general? So it doesn't just have to be a gun or a weapon. Basically think of it like if you describe something, like in-depth detail about something in your story. It could be a gun, it could be a barrel of liquid in a storeroom, it could be whatever else. If you're making general comments about everything else in the room, but then you direct your players' attention to a specific item, that specific item needs to be important. Don't describe it, don't draw attention to it if it's not going to be used later on in the plot. So let's kind of come up with an example to kind of help put this in perspective. All right, so we're going to go to Mutants and Masterminds. Let's say we're making a plot for that, and we're writing that the characters are going to go into a science lab. They're going to break into a science lab. They need to find some kind of secret information or whatever. Okay, whatever they need to do, they've broken in here, they've gone in here for something else. And you're going to say, okay, oh, you're going through the medical lab. You see like all kinds of desks and tables with beakers and burners and all other kind of medical equipment and lab equipment and tech equipment. But then you draw attention to, say that on one Bunsen burner you see a medium-sized beaker full of a yellowish bubbling liquid. And then you continue on with the rest of the room making general comments about everything else. So you've gone into the room, you've described, generally everything that's in the room so they can visualize, but you've drawn attention to that beaker of yellow bubbling liquid. So now in your plot, in your story, you're going to need to write, why is that important? Is it a super serum or something? Is the villain going to show up and steal that and they're going to use that to nefarious ends? Is that what the players have come to collect, to steal, to take back, but maybe they don't know that that's what it is they're looking for? The information they were given was general or vague, so they had to do some investigation work. So since I've drawn attention to it, it needs to be important. It needs to be interacted with. Don't describe that and then it never come to fruition. Basically, you're making false promises. You're going to get your players thinking, oh, yellow liquid, bubbling, burner, everything else is kind of general. You say that there's nothing of note or everything else is mundane, but you draw the attention to that. So, in wrapping up, Chekhov's gun is everything that is in the story must be of use. It must be necessary for the story, right? So don't go into detail. Don't put something into your story that it's not needed, that you're not going to use. That would maybe draw your players' attention away from, the real thing that they need or the objective into this object or whatever. So it prevents the players from becoming confused. So only add into your story what is necessarily important. All right, gamers. So that's Chekhov's gun in a nutshell. To wrap up, remember, everything that you include in your story should be important. Be general about everything that needs to be generalized. Be specific about the things that are going to help drive your story and your plot forward. So, thanks for watching. Remember to hit me up over on Twitter and also come over and join me on Discord as well so we can all talk about games and anything we want to talk about over there. So, until I see you again in the dungeon, I'm Brian, your Game Master, and happy gaming.